Hey guys, what's up? It's Andy here. I'm a self-taught software developer, and in today's video we're going to answer the question, how many hours a day should you be studying if you want to become a software developer? And a lot of you guys out there are really busy at work right now doing tutorials, doing the self-study thing, maybe building out little applications, and you're thinking to yourself, how many hours a day should I be committing to this? Like, what's the right number? What's the right number to make sure that I'm going to be successful in 6 months or a year or whatever? And it's a question I really thought a lot about myself, and I will answer that based on my experience. So let's just get right into it. Now, before we even talk about number of hours, let's just get one thing completely out of the way, and that the most important thing in terms of a time commitment is consistency. So I recommend to everyone that you do coding every single day, like period. I don't believe in people becoming software developers doing it once a week. I'm not sure how you could do coding once a week and suddenly in a year or 6 months or whatever, suddenly find yourself as a developer, right? So the extreme to me is 7 days, but here's my recommendation. It's more important to be consistent every day than it is to pile on as much as you can in 1 or 2 days. So I think the bare minimum for any day of the week should be 20 minutes. You should sit down for 20 minutes every single day and do one small thing, whether it's watching a tutorial that you're currently on, maybe reading a little bit from a book that you're currently reading, maybe it's building a little bit of the application that you're working on, learning about Git, whatever it is, minimum 20 minutes a day. Now, I totally get where a lot of you guys are gonna be like, oh my God, 20 minutes is not enough. I have to commit hours. I have to commit 8 hours every day, even on work days, and I'll do it tired. I don't care, blah, blah, blah. Okay, look, slow down. Slow down. First of all, when I say a minimum of 20 minutes a day, my whole thing is to be consistent. Because if you try to get yourself to do 2 hours every single day and you realistically can only do it about 20 minutes on certain days, what's gonna happen is this. You're gonna start falling off. It's more important to make sure that you're doing a little bit each day. And on those days where some days you sit down and you're like, you know what, I only got 20 minutes, but you sit down, by about 15 minutes in, you're starting to enjoy the work and you're like, I'm gonna go to 45 minutes, or maybe I'm gonna go to an hour. But that's more important to get that like long-term momentum of a habit going than it is to simply skip a study session because you think it's not enough. It's not enough. I use the same philosophy when going to the gym. This sounds really crazy, but people laugh at me when I say this, but I'm pretty damn consistent when it comes to the gym. When I'm in that mode of going to the gym and working out. My whole modus operandi when I go to the gym is that it is a successful trip to the gym if I show up. If I walk to the door, if I scan my little key tag to get in, I walk in, if I go to the locker, if I touch the locker, I can then go home. Do you know why I set that criteria for myself? It's not because I'm lazy and I can just go to the gym and walk home. It's because when I go all the way to the gym, I walk my 2 legs all the way over there, I scan my thing, I've now showed up for the gym and I go, well, I'm here, so might as well get the workout in, right? Like I tell myself, like, look, if I want to leave, if I'm sick, I can go back home. I can just stretch or something and go back home. But look, I walk in, and because I'm already there, because I've made the effort to put on the clothes, to grab my gym bag, to go all the way over there, which is like 2 blocks away now, I'm gonna work out. And once I start like getting on the treadmill, my blood starts warming up, I put my headphones in, the music's going, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm here. And it works freaking wonders, right? And the thing is, sometimes I just have a really crappy workout and I just go home. And that happens, but I am really consistent, and most of the time I actually do get a good workout in. So I treat it the same way that I treat studying, and that is do a little bit each day, and the more important thing is to get your butt in the chair, get yourself used to the habit of sitting down and doing code, and don't make excuses for not showing up every day. Like, there's no excuse why you can't get 20 minutes in before bed. And of course, that is not enough. Like, just doing 20 minutes a day is not enough in the long run. But the base of what your habits should be built in is consistency and doing at least 20 minutes a day. Now, once we've gotten that out of the way, once we've all agreed here that it's important to sit down for that consistent amount of time, like how many hours should you spend per week studying? Now, it's really important to talk about what you should actually consider software development time. Now, here's some things that are considered software development time or software development studying time. Reading reading books, right? Like the Head First JavaScript book is a book I always recommend. The Head First series is great. If you read that book, that's considered study time. If you are writing an application, so if you're taking the knowledge you learned from the Head First series and now you're going to write a little application, that definitely counts. if you're watching a tutorial online on YouTube specifically tailored to learning a concept, like maybe you're learning Git, maybe you're learning how to build this application that you're building right now, maybe you're learning a JavaScript framework or a programming paradigm like clean code or unit testing, that is clearly study time, right? Maybe you are corresponding with other developers, maybe you're doing some networking of some sort. I would consider that even sort of like time that you're investing and doing some sort of constructive work for your future career. What is not considered software development time? Really important, watching this YouTube video. I'm sad to say, like, I'm so glad that you're watching this YouTube video, but watching YouTube videos about people who are sharing topics like this, I would not really consider that to be productive time related directly to you becoming a software developer. It's certainly something that you should do, but don't watch a bunch of YouTube videos from software developers who are just talking about whatever, maybe like higher level concepts like this, and think to yourself, oh, I know what I'm doing now, I'm a software developer. Like, no, it doesn't quite work like that. So you basically know what that is. So now that we've got that out of the way, I think the bare minimum recommendation for study time per week should range somewhere in the 15-hour or more range. Obviously, I would say the bare minimum would be 15 hours. And the reason I pick 15 hours is because I would say if it averages out to about 2 hours per day, that is probably the sweet spot for getting to be the biggest reason you want to study consistently and for that amount is that you want to immerse yourself in the code, essentially. So if you wanted to learn a actual language, right, like if you want, I know French a little bit, one of the best ways to learn it is to immerse yourself. So I when I was younger, went to France and I lived with a French family, and I did my best not to speak English, and it was really good for me because it immersed me in that language, and it was what I was thinking about all the time. I was trying to get better at it. It helped my education. And so the immersion aspect is so important. So I think 15 hours a week consistently over the course of 7 days will help to get you immersed. It'll help to make you feel more and more like a programmer. Whereas if you're only in the 10 hours or less range, I feel like you're not committing quite enough to get yourself to feel like you're immersed, to constantly be thinking about it and to constantly be committed to that end goal of being a software developer. But more than anything else, I recommend that amount because that's basically what I use as a barometer for when I was studying by myself, was roughly about 15 hours. Now keep in mind, when I was self-studying, most of the period of my self-study time for that year, I spent working about like part-time. I want to say I was at about 25 hours per week. I think that I maybe topped out at about 30. So I wasn't working full time. So on the days where I worked, I really only probably studied maybe a good half hour minimum. I always stuck to the 20 minutes, right? But I would say it was anywhere from a half hour to an hour on days that I felt like working a little bit more. Now, my days off, I think I typically had about 3 days off. On my days off, I was minimum probably would say about 4 hours. And if I could do a whole day, like 8 hours worth of coding, I would absolutely do it. I would try to get about 4 hours in the morning, take a 2-hour break, and then 4 hours in the evening. I was pretty serious. So I was definitely pushing minimum 15 hours, but on the weeks that I could, I probably had some weeks where I was working about 30 hours. Now, again, let's be completely realistic about these things. Like I was pretty damn good about being consistent, but there were certainly weeks where maybe I went on a little trip with my friends, but I was always mindful about if I was getting a little too stressed out, take a little bit step back and work on myself, but always be working on staying consistent, coming back and making sure that I was doing the work. So again, I recommend this based on my experience. I think 15 hours is a good baseline. Anything that you can do over that is going to be great. Always, always, always think about consistency first. Make sure you're committing that 20 minutes a day. If you can't even commit to that 20 minutes a day, I think there is maybe a larger, more systemic problem about you being able to hold yourself to commitments. Maybe you have to work with motivation, thinking about why you're doing this, why this is so important to you. Maybe you need to just get some sort of motivation, right? Like pay your friend $100 for every day that you don't do your 20 minutes of study. I don't know, it's beyond the scope of this video, but my point is that consistency is highly important. If you can't do that, then figure out a way to get that done, just the consistently 20 minutes a day, and then you can start thinking about bigger picture, working up to those 15 or more hours per week. So I hope you liked the video. I thought a lot about this over the last couple weeks and figuring out exactly my recommendation and how to explain how I came to it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you liked the video, go ahead and smash that like button. Other than that, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want notifications as soon as I put out a video. Other than that, that's really all I got for the day. So thank you so much for watching and have a good weekend, and